Hey guys, welcome to the Podnas, a podcast with three real friends with a real view, no filters, and hopefully no offense. I'm 1/3 of the Podnas Tiz down here in GA. My partners and co-hosts are here with me. First up, we got Pat.
This is the Padawan here, artist from Southeast Virginia here, with my brothers and everything, and then my big bro. This is...
Yeah, it's me, Faith. I'm out here in Virginia too. I'm just in Blackstone, the country part.
So basically, to give you guys the basics of who we are, how we ended up together doing this podcast, I guess I'll just kind of start at the beginning. I grew up in Petersburg, Virginia, had a normal childhood in the hood, typical source, single parent household, no father, blah, blah, blah. But we can talk about that more on the show another time. Did well in school, but round 8, I started to kind of go through some things and see some things in my neighborhood and in my environment that kind of made me start to shift in my attitude about school and just the way I was moving. So we moved to Ettrick so that I could go to a better middle and high school. We moved when I was about 10. I was in the 6th grade. And when I got to Ettrick and into this new middle school, I ended up meeting Face in 7th grade when I actually started my new middle school. It was kind of weird and ironic because we actually went to the same school in 6th grade before I went to this new middle school, but never even knew each other. So it was kind of like some destiny type stuff that we was meant to be bros. When I first met him, he had on a weird vision test shirt, and it looked like one of those tests that you get at the optometrist, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And around this time, as you can see, I wear glasses. So around this time in middle school, my eyes were already going bad. So I thought I was tripping. And it's like the first or second day of school. So I'm just sitting there like, what in the world is wrong with this shirt? So I just asked him, like, what's going on with your shirt, man? Like, am I tripping? And he said some old regular stuff like, no, this is just how the shirt was made. And I don't know why that regular answer like tripped me out, but I just thought it was funny. And we just started like joking and laughing and stuff, and found out we lived in the same neighborhood, had the same classes. So we've been friends and brothers ever since. Ended up going to the same high school, ended up getting into college and basically being in college in the same area, 757. So we've been kind of just rocking together pretty much most of my life since childhood. Ended up not kind of kicking around in college, kind of got kicked out of a couple schools, but still visit each other back and forth at each other's schools, that type of thing. And then on one of them trips to visit him at ODU, I actually met Pat. Ended up got stuck at ODU for a couple of weeks and ended up meeting Padawan through Face. So they was like already clicked up at ODU. And then over time, basically my path would lead me to being at ODU with Face, and then Pat was not there, coincidentally. So after about a year, me and Face had kind of clicked up with some other dudes that are our brothers as well, and then Pat came back after like a year of being missing, and we all just got together, formed like Voltron, and we basically been kicking there since. When Face graduated, I had already kind of left ODU, so I was just working. And since me and Pat was like the only two left out of the clique still in the 757, me and him kind of bonded even closer and got tighter. So by the time Face moved back down to the 757, it was like, it just made sense. Like, so us three just kind of was always rolling together, clubbing, out in the streets together, just wilding. And then, I ended up moving to Atlanta after I met who's now my wife. And when I moved, basically, we just kept the bond going. But over time, we stopped talking as much. We would see each other still whenever anybody was in the same state. We always make it a point to, get up and link up. But over time, it became harder because, I don't make friends that easy. So for me, it became a little rough because I was away from my bros. So the pandemic finally allowed everybody to just slow down a little bit. And we took advantage of it and started Zooming every week just to check in, make sure everybody was good, see how the families was, just kind of give us that time to have man talk. And throughout that, I was like, man, I want to start a podcast. And it was funny because Face and Pat was pretty much kind of on that same wavelength already. And it just kind of was like, well, why don't we just turn our Zooms into the podcast? We're already having these long convos anyway that just, coming from really different perspectives. So why not turn that into the podcast? And now you see us here. So that's kind of like my journey, but I'll get more to kind of me throughout our podcast episodes, I'm sure. But for now, I'll leave it there and let Pat kind of speak on his journey, his path, and how he got here.
So I grew up on the 757 corner of Virginia, which is about 2 hours away from my two friends here. I grew up mostly a loner, usually by myself, really into nerd stuff, drawing and stuff like that. By the time I got to college, Face was the first person I met on campus. And ever since then, we clicked. And then next thing you know, out of nowhere, he got his brother come in. And I'll never forget, says you had them pants, man, them cut up pants, bro. I was like, yo, this dude is just cool. Just like to this day or whatever. And then we just clicked. And just like you said, I disappeared for a moment. I ain't gonna lie, dog. Going into college, I didn't know really anything about college going in. It was like everything was on the fly. So that first year, I just overdid myself. I was thinking it's just like high school. I had too many classes. Dude had like 7 classes for one semester. So I had to cancel, thinking it's like a high school setup.
Still your advisor.
Yeah. So that kind of screwed me up my first year. So that's why I disappeared. People thought I died, overdose. I don't know what the people thought. I heard all kinds of crazy rumors, and I thought it was amazing. Like, I'm all mysterious and shit now.
We're legendary.
When I came back, man, they just opened it. What really got to me is they opened me with open arms and stuff, and I had never really been embraced by, but I have a few friends where I'm at, but not as much, because at that time when I came back, y'all ruled ODU with an iron fist, and I thought I was tagging along. I think I got the benefits at the end of pretty much, but what really clicked with us is like we just have so much similarities. Like Tiz, you and my mom got similar names. Your birthday's like right before mine. We all Capricorns, and we have these moments where we will start having the most random street gangster conversations that get real deep, and you never know if we're going political, spiritual, and somewhere down the line, a motherfucker's getting shot. That's why I love my brothers, man. They all of us are the same, but we have our own spin to it, pretty much. And that brings us to basically the glue of us three. My brother Face down here.
What's up? Once again, it's Face. Now with me, man, I'm the oldest of the bunch, but my story, not like everyone else's. I ain't grew up in one specific spot. I was born in New York, stayed there for a few years, moved to Atlanta, stayed there for a few years. Then I moved to Virginia, and I've been here ever since. Got to Virginia around 11, went to Petersburg schools, just like my little brother. Everybody wanted me to go to a better school, so we went to Chesterfield schools, went to Matoga High, Matoga Middle. That's where I met. He was the first person I spoke to in school. I'm kind of a loner, stay to myself most of the time, so him being the first person I spoke to, we just bonded. Been together since. Moved on, grew up a little bit. Everybody had their little problems growing up. I ain't gonna go too much into that, but ended up getting into college. Who got to college? First person I met was Pat. So I've been with Pat ever since. So these are my two day ones. My day one in the middle school in a new environment. I met day one in a new environment. I met Pat. My day ones stay true to me, and I stay true to them.
Needless to say, he's loyal.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, man. Like, that's basically all it is. We 3 fellas met each other at one point in life, but we all bonded through our lifelong journeys together. Me personally, we all on our different journeys now because we've all separated. We got our own lives. Me and my brother, we both married. Pat, we waiting on him to jump that broom, but that's to come whenever it comes. Out of the 3 of us, I got the most kids. I got 3 children right now. My brother has 1. Pat has none. Waiting on him again. to join the club. You feel me? Like most everything I do centers around my children. So I try to put all my time that I can, my available time, into my zones with my fellas because that keeps me grounded. You feel me? Like out of most things, like most men don't appreciate their friends like they should, I should say. But my friends, y'all really keep me grounded, yeah. I'm appreciating we able to get to do this podcast and get the link up like we do.
That's big facts. That's big facts. And see, people, that's the greatest part about our podcast is literally just best friends and brothers separated by distance, but we still connected as brothers and friends, and we're still able to touch base and present our different perspectives and have these bills like Black men should, man. I think it's a good time in our country for it. It's a good time in the world for it, and hopefully we can be that representation of, you know what I'm saying, just how to really be that bond and show that bond with your friends and loved ones. Pat, what's our first topic tonight?
You know, the election. We got our tomorrow's our presidential birth. We ain't talking about T.I. and Jeezy. We're talking about Trump and Biden. And
yes.
The main thing that resonates more is that on either side, I don't think anybody likes either presidential candidate. Some more than others, of course. In general, we know the obvious when it comes to Trump. In general, the main thing that I have been seeing coming up now is that people are very just the Democrats themselves have not, I would say, given that confidence enough that it's becoming even more split within Black people now. A lot of Black people dabbling on the conservative side, but not to the extreme amount that it's like majority. But, you know, you have our some prominent celebrities, basically talking to both sides. Some already just going straight conservative. I know that our brother Ice Cube, he had his plan for Black America, and it just didn't turn out well. In general, he had I think we were a little hard on him, but at the same time, it's understanding, you know, where you're coming from, because you shouldn't talk to the candidates like 2 weeks before the election. That just seems like it's a pandering. But Ice Cube did come out with this plan in July, and really he was just expressing who responded and how they responded, pretty much. And it seems that with Trump's, Trump's campaign, they pretty much tried to jump on Ice Cube and used him as a way to bring more Black people to vote for him in general. And I don't think he intended it to be that way, but with these these politicians, they'll use anything or whatever. And currently we've seen Lil Wayne post up with Trump. Seems like he's okay with it. And I think I even heard Waka say something about it pretty much. But me personally, I think I'm going to just come out with, I wasn't really going to express who I was going to vote for, but down the line, if I ain't going to put down my own name for president and vote locally, everything else, I probably would go toward Biden pretty much. But I'm still kind of I feel like if Black people, if we end up bringing Biden into the office, we need to be on his neck. We shouldn't let it be like any other time when we vote Democrat. You know, we should be on his neck like we are on Trump's neck, because he's also has him and his vice president. They both have some iffy track records as far towards Black people. I know Kamala, she's real harsh as far as the prison aspect of it, locking up a lot of people up of our color in general. And I'm not sure if she is really just was wound up in the politics of everything, trying to get to where she at now, because she seems like she's one of those gold driven people, and I know sometimes with goal driven people, they don't see the ethics pretty much. But yeah, that's just how I feel about it going forward. How y'all feel about it?
Oh, wow, you unpacked a lot there, bro. I think I got three main takeaways from what you said, and just in general, as far as overall with the election. I think especially when you're touching on the blacks voting for Trump, I think that's the scariest part, because I really do feel that because of all of the unrest and the time people have on their hands to really dig into politics and to really do the research on politics more than ever, I do feel like it's going to be a lot more of us at the polls this year. And the scary part is that our voting power could be divided like that. Yeah, I'd love to, in a second, get you guys' like take on why you think it is that a lot of us closer to the election starting to make that turn. And I'm seeing in the polls a lot of it is black men more than black women. So that's kind of like striking to me, because I don't personally know any black man that's thinking about voting for Trump. And I'm talking about even when we getting into the people who are in the higher tax brackets that you would think would vote for him. So I'm looking like, well, these people who would actually get benefits from voting for him aren't. So that's just a whole nother thing. But I think the most important thing is taking advantage of a lot of the clout that we have on local levels now. Do you see a lot of towns that are being taken back by the citizens? Even out there, what is it, Seattle or somewhere, where they had like a town that was completely run by citizens until the government of that city actually gave in and decided to, meet the demands of those people. So when you have stuff like that going on in America, we're really just starting to live out what the Constitution is based on, and about if the government isn't representing the people, then the people should be flexing their muscle. So yeah. I just want to make sure that whoever gets in office, whether it's Trump somehow winning again, whether it's Biden and Kamala coming into office, I think the most important thing that you said, and just the most important thing in my takeaway is that we stay on them while we have this momentum. Like this is the first time I've seen blacks all together. Like even in the civil rights movement, you had the black Muslim groups, you had the black militant groups, you had the black church groups with Martin, you had all of these different sects of blacks all going for the same thing, but not working necessarily together for it. Right now, you're seeing pretty much everybody coming together for the betterment of us in this country. And that's never been seen before. So like, I just want to make sure that while we got this power, that we continue to like flex that political muscle. And it starts on a local level to me, like getting these mayors, getting these local Congress people in your cities and in your state governments, getting these aldermen and these sheriffs voted in that actually reflect our values I think is the most important thing, because once we start doing that, and those people that are in those seats start to flex their muscle and put their pressure on those higher up senators and those higher up congressmen, because now their constituency is saying, hey, this is what we want, and we're not going to vote you in again unless we get it. And now that senator is looking at his district like, okay, I got these three sheriffs all saying that if I don't give the people this, and this from this district, then these sheriffs won't get voted in again, and they gonna be upset with me, and now I'm losing this voter block that can keep me from getting voted again. So like, I think we got the right idea right now with the protesting and stuff, but now it's time to like put some asks. I saw an interview with Chris Rock the other day, and he was saying, okay, we got the attention and the awareness, but what's our ask? Like, what are we coming away from this with that they already that they actually have to change something to give us? Like with civil rights, a lot of that was about like, let's sit at the counter together, let's drink out the water fountain together. For them, that was just about taking down some signs and saying, all right, come on in and taking our money. What policy do we change? What real legislation do we change? What mentality do we change in our voting practices and our ideas around our place in politics that gets us to not only seize the momentum now, but take this into the future and avoid us getting back here again in the next 60 to 70 years?
I think that's what Ice Cube was attempting to do with that plan of his. It's just that, the politicians ran with it pretty much.
Now, to piggyback on what you're saying, Tiz, about what's the acts, the main act should be, let's start at the beginning with the Constitution. Let's change the definition of what we are seen as. Let's not be 3/5 man. Let's be seen as equal. Start it off with, put it on paper that we are equal. Then maybe the treatment of us can change. But as long as on paper we're seen as less than, who's stopping the treatment? You can defund whatever department, you can vote whoever you want in, but the essence is still there.
Mentality.
The mentality goes back ages and ages and ages. Sure, with your new age groups coming up, your millennials and everything like that, it's not as prevalent because it's a taught behavior. But in the essence of that, those who still teach are still here. So that behavior can still be taught. So without them, that's the only way it won't be there. But being that's the years to come, let that ask be to let's change our equal, how we're seen as equal on paper. Change that first, then maybe we can get into something else. But if we can't ask that, what are we asking for?
Yeah, that's big.
Yep.
I think when you talk about the essence, man, I think that's the biggest thing, because the system is going to stay the same. Like, we could change the people running the system, but the system stays the same until the people running the system actually feel that the system is wrong. You know what I mean? Like in my house, a rule doesn't get made or changed until I feel like, okay, the way this is working right now, this doesn't work. We don't change the chore schedule, or we don't change the schedule that we got until we realize, oh, this doesn't work. And I think that's the thing. The people that's benefiting from the system, or that's running the system, we have to continuously put in people like a AOC, continuously put in people like that have these more grassroots, on the ground, pulse of the people type mentalities. Because now they're in a position where they're running the system and they actually feel like we feel about the system. So, you know what I'm saying? But I think as far as changing mentality, is putting it in writing. Just that writing, because they might teach a lot of stuff and they might change textbooks, but they're going to teach the Constitution. Because that's what their forefathers did. That's their little pride and joy. That's that piece of paper that said, hey, look what I got. Look what our people did. So as long as they're teaching that, if we can get that on writing, imagine a bunch of white kids growing up never hearing that phrase, 3/5 of a man, how their mentality changes from a supremacist mentality to now, I never get that inkling in my brain of, oh, Johnny might not be the same as me. Or I now feel like I'm better than Leon or Ralph. I'm cooler than him because I'm lighter. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never get that inkling in that child's brain that grows up and then manifests in some larger. So I think that's powerful what Faye said about that. They're just putting it right.
Yeah. 3/5 human, 2/5 God. Remember that. If we 3/5, we're 2/5 God. Is just how I feel about it. But this election, this year in general has just been crazy, one after another. Even with all this stuff, from time to time, you need to do things to relax your mind and stuff like that. Keep you out of it, because every month there's something crazy. So, like, one of the main things I do to try to, just keep my mind away from the anxiety of all this madness is, like, I draw, and that will bring into what I'm doing right now. I'm drawing my own comic book. It's called Godlike. The gist of it is set in the future. We're set on an island in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle, and it's like the last strong free nation in the world. The rest of the world is run by companies in general. And then the main protagonist, his powers is he absorbs energy, and he's forced to being a hero when he'd rather be left alone. But that I'm in the midst of getting that done. We're getting the coloring done and everything pretty soon. So that should be around in 2021. Once again, that's Godlike. And if you have any future questions, You can catch me on my Instagram. That's at the Padawan, spelled ThePattawon. And if you find me on Facebook, it's Antonius Padawanius. I'm pretty sure if you write ANTONIOUS, I am the only one up there with that name. I've tried it. So pretty much if you look out for me or whatever, have any questions, you'll see Godlike pretty soon. And that's what I basically do, so I can keep my mind off of anxiety of the world and everything and all this madness. It's just been a lot of changes going on lately. Every month there's something new. And one of the biggest changes is just working from home. Everyone's working from home more. And along with that, the kids are basically learning from home now. So,
this virtual reality, this virtual learning stuff it's quite a task at hand. It changed up a lot for a lot of households, a lot of families, a lot of kids. A lot of people have been affected by it. When it first started, a lot of people just slid through that last school year. So regardless of where you were at, you passed. So it's a lot of people who was like, yay. But a lot of people who really strive to be at school, strive to achieve stuff, who wanted to prove stuff, who couldn't do that. Now coming to this new school year, you have a lot of different things going on with virtual on different databases or different schematics or different amount of screen times, a different amount of paper time. And it's all based on the school district or the state. It's not the same everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Just the other week, me and my brother was talking about how it's different down there for his son and my children. My son is not in school yet. He's 3, but he's still getting in homes tutoring when he's getting babysat. Now my daughter, she's 6. She's right around the same age as my nephew. He's 5. They're both in virtual school, but the difference is the virtual schooling. Now my daughter, she doesn't have guarantees screen time with her teacher. It's recordings, and they're at like 5-minute intervals on whatever topic, and then she's set off to do the work with the parent. So the majority of the work is put on the parent. Where on my brother's hands, it's something different maybe. And I don't know personally, because my brother will see it differently because he's not only a teacher, but he's a parent dealing with it. So what do you feel on it, bro?
Definitely feel that. All right, so I think the biggest thing for me is if we're going to do virtual learning, the fact that it is so unstandardized and there's no best practices being followed and there's no okay, let's normalize this so a kid in Wisconsin who's virtual learning has a similar experience. What if a kid moves at the end of this? They may be further behind based on the district, even in the same city, maybe, depending on if they're zoned. Like in Atlanta, we got 2 different cities. You got Atlanta public schools, and then you got Fulton County schools. So there are 2 different school districts, and you got kids in the same city. If I go move across the town, I'm now might be behind based off what APS is doing versus what Fulton is doing based, you know what I mean? I think that is the most horrific part about this. I also think that I do think that parents should have a part to play in this because, to be honest with you, in virtual learning, the biggest piece of it is how much or how little the parent is participating with the kid. Because a lot of the kids are not showing up to classes. They're not doing any work. And a lot of it is because the parents are either too tired, they're at work all day, they're not even with the kid is with grandma all day, the kid is at a community center all day, the kid is at daycare all day. So I think putting the learning part on the parents is just unfair. My son is in a unique position where his mother and his father are both teachers, so we're trained to know how to teach him. So us transitioning into this is kind of a lot of the stuff we've been doing with him at home outside of, because he was in pre-K and stuff. This has kind of been his normal routine anyway. So a lot of the stuff we were already familiar with, we teach. So a lot of the learning apps that schools are using, we were already familiar with those platforms, having used them in our classrooms, etc. The average parent, though, when COVID hit, their biggest thing is, making sure they keep their job, because a lot of people are losing jobs. So you have parents that not only am I trying to help my kid with school, but I'm also dragging them on the bus, trying to help them with this tablet that's going in and out of Wi-Fi zones, because I'm also trying to apply for another job or get to the unemployment office or get to my third job, because now instead of the good job I had that I lost, I'm working 3 part-time jobs. So like parents, the average parent had to shift in a major way. Like, you know what I mean? So I think the biggest thing is like utilizing parents in a different way, like making sure the parent has the kid engaged. And if the parent can't get the kid there for live classes, if you do have live classes, equipping the parents with, hey, all right, today, since you're sitting with your kid anyway, for an hour right after their school day or after they finish their lessons, here's a recording for you, parent, on how to actually teach this lesson to your kid. Equip the parent. If you're going to put more work on them, equip them with the skills, because everybody is not an educator. Like I came into education from a non-traditional kind of route. So for me, even me learning to be a teacher was hard. So to have millions of parents across America, across the world, having to now shift to try to be their child's teacher is just unfair. And what's happening is you're getting a lot of parents who get checked out. So now they're exhausted with virtual learning. So now they stop caring whether the kid go anyway. You had last year, like they gave all the kids passing grades no matter what. So now you have parents who's like, man, this virtual learning don't mean nothing. You have kids who basically feel now they've lost their investment in the virtual learning. And now you have schools that are still trying to teach these kids. But what's happening is, and my biggest fear of what I'm seeing is, outside of a parent who's able to shift and say, you know what, it's all about my kids. I'm going to make this work. However, the average parent don't even have the basic parenting skills. So what's happening is you're losing a generation of kids, because when this is all over and we go back to normal, kids are going to be expected to do 9th grade work, and they have literally missed out on everything from their 7th to 8th grade year. They haven't been to one class, done one assignment, and they have no idea what you're talking about in 9th grade math. You're throwing Pythagorean theorems at them. They're still at basic fractions. So like we're losing a generation of kids, and this is happening not just in middle school and high school, but across the board. You're having a generation of kindergartners who I'm watching in this class. The average kindergartner, half of the class don't have a parent sitting with them. Like I'm able to, since I'm working from home, it just so happens to line up that my son's live class days where he's in front of the class and he actually has to be with his teacher are the days when I have recorded classes. So my kids are doing my assignments on their own on those days. So I have the flexibility to actually sit with him. And while I'm grading papers, doing lesson plans, making parent phone calls, I can at least sit with him in the room and make sure his eyes is on screen. He's actually focused on what's going on. And if they do happen to come up with something that he doesn't already know, I can make sure that he's actually focused to learn it. I'm looking at his screen. The average kid is in there by themselves. You got kids that just start playing with their toys. They in there got Teddy Ruxpin on the screen. They done put on a superhero costume during the wiggle break, and we haven't seen them since. Like, so you have a generation of kindergartners that are going to be pushed into 1st grade who don't have fundamental sight word skills, fundamental letter sound skills, fundamental grouping and pattern recognizing skills to do basic math. So like, and this is across the board, across the nation, and nobody's addressing that piece. Like, how do we get the kids to school if they don't have a parent that is like a face, that is like a me, that is like our brothers that also have kids that are stepping up? But like the average person, I know that we are anomalies in this grand scheme of parenting. And that's the scary.
I got a side to it because I'm in tech support, right? So I have a whole technical side to the whole virtual learning because I have my customers that come in, they ask about certain things or whatever. Not only that, my mother is a teacher. Half their side of the family are teachers. A lot of times when my mom was working from home, they all had, I don't know if you had the same. Well, no, I think you did tell me they had a lot of like training classes they had to do on the fly. And I think the key thing, the main thing that is really holding back with virtual learning and everything is that all of this happened at once. So even at my job, like companies, school systems, everything. Everybody had to go and change policies on the fly. I'm pretty sure if you had a regular job or any job, like every 2 weeks, you probably had an email or something that say, hey, this has changed.
Yes.
So that's a whole nother thing. On another technical side of it, you have now where at most it was like 40% people at the highest on the internet at one time. For the first time after quarantine, when everybody started going home, it became 90% pretty much. That is for the first time. So like a lot of things just changed on the fly. And companies right now, they're really just, trying to make up things and just do a lot of things to improve a lot of stuff right now so they keep their customers in general. Like I know in a lot of places, because everyone is online at once, you got 1 million kids online at once doing virtual learning and whatnot, it will overload the system and then everybody's internet will start to flow, because when you're doing Zooming and streaming and stuff like that, anytime anything moves, the system is downloading something like all the time. Just imagine, when you were playing games and you had to download something for the game, you know how long that used to be. In general, that now that's doing that at a faster rate, and then it's way more people doing it at one point. So now you have people trying to learn what's the best way to keep their internet, what plans they can use. They can't use the same rinky-dink internet that they had before, because this is a whole different level in general. And like I would say, if you do have problems with your internet, especially with virtual learning, check with your provider, see how much you're actually getting as far as your download speeds, realize how many devices you have connected at once, because everything is pulling. And what's the main thing? And how old your modem matters. A modem doesn't last for 3 years. A modem and router doesn't last for 3 years. And after that, it starts messing up on you. Check with your provider. If you say your signals is fine, and it says your modem and everything is old, that's the thing you need to work on. And then that would improve stuff. But I just wanted to put that out there just in case people don't know nothing about it. But
now the only benefit about these kids not going to school is you don't have to buy school clothes. But when you do, and they got to go back, you can always go to teespring.com/stores/face-co-2. That's right, Face and Company. Styles made simple yet stylish. Your t-shirt and hoodie heaven. Now you can go there and get whatever you need for your man, your woman, or your child. We have, that's right, adult and children sizes. That's right. Once again, it's teespring.com/stores/face-co-2. And that's face spelled PHAC. That's right. Come and get your t-shirts and your hoodies. It's getting cold.
Big facts. And I can testify to the Teespring shirts too. Like, they good quality. Like, you can throw them in the washer a few times. I've actually worn them as my shirts that I wear when I'm teaching my class. And after 4 workouts every Wednesday, throw them in the washer and throw them in the dryer. The shirt still looks like when I first pulled it out the pack. I'm actually going to wear it the next podcast so the audience can see it and check it out. Just see the quality of it, and he be coming with some fire designs. So please check that out. And I think that's a good place, you know what I'm saying? I think we kind of dug into some stuff for the inaugural episode. I don't want to overload the audience with too much of our intertwined minds. I think they'll get to really get to know us as we keep going. But I think that's a good point to wrap up the first episode of the Podnas.
Most definitely.
Yes, we want to thank you guys all for just joining us on our inaugural episode. Pat, Face, y'all got anything you want to promote or say to the family before we bounce?
I wore my Stitches shirt from Face Co at the club, and I threw money with the Stitches shirt. Bang, 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 bang. Yes.
I mean,
a bonus.
mean that.
Also, with Facing Company, soon coming face masks and leggings for the females. Soon coming leggings for the females and face masks.
Oh, that's big time.
Get your PPE mask.
Big facts. I got to get a mask for the little man for sure.
Oh yes, most definitely.
For sure. We got to rep. I'm on that. Well, all right, guys. Remember to join us next time. Same week, same station. Like, share, subscribe if you want to continue this progress on this journey with us. Until next time, I'm Tiz. We're Pat and Face, and we are the Podnas. See you later, Pod Squad.
Peace out.